This is your last time ever to get Switzerland or the Netherlands. These plushies are going to be put in a vault and locked away forever in 2 days. It looks like it's going to be the Netherlands that ultimately wins the war between these two, but who knows, because there's still some time left. Of course, as I mentioned, there's also a pin you can buy with the Swiss ball, and I'll plan to bring more of these in the future so you can like add them to your backpacks or whatever. I can't actually wait to fill this whole thing out with a bunch of country ball pins at some point. So use that top link in the description down below to makeship.com to reserve yours today. The whites of America. Oh boy. To start off, we have the WASP Americans. Basically, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants comprises the vast majority of US politicians, less than 10% of the population, but yet one of the richest, ruled the US with an iron fist since its founding, small minority in every state but New England and Utah. Okay, this is definitely a part of my family, specifically in Utah. Next up, we've got the Irish Catholics. Highly liberal, has hashtag love Trump's hate bumper sticker. What? No, I don't know about that. Only white demographic in the US to vote majority Democrat. Maybe a majority. I know a lot that's not though. Makes up the vast majority of white leftists, patriotic for the Gaelic peoples, thinks Boston is Irish clay. Now the American city of Boston is definitely not a part of the nation of Ireland. However, it's definitely the closest you can get to being in Ireland, but still being in the US. Now lives in areas that were once dominated by the WASPs. So Boston, again? They're probably just talking about New England as a whole here. Geez, all these dark green states have at least 15% of their population with some sort of Irish ancestry. We do not have that out here in the South or where I live in California though. Next up, the Midwestern Croat. Dominates the Midwest, Western Pennsylvania, and mountain states. Came in droves during the 1848 war. Resides in dying industrial towns. Addicted to, but still happy. May or may not be secretly Amish. I also think this genre of people in the US can be found living next to a lot of people with Nordic ancestry as well in the US. Think like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, and the Dakotas. Unfortunately though, Viking Americans are not represented on this meme. Next up, we have the Italians. Basically the Latinx of the 19th and 20th century were so despised that they were responsible for the 1924 Immigration Act. Majority of certain areas of New York, New Jersey, and Philly, highly conservative. The main reason why Staten Island is dark red. Proud of their Italian roots, even though they can't speak Italian. Also crazy mustaches. Love the shirt he's wearing with the pasta sauce, the Roman Empire, Mussolini for whatever reason, Christopher Columbus, Italian food. It's funny how close the Italian immigrant lives next to the Irish Catholic too, all on the East Coast there. However, you can also find them in Florida, parts of California, and Nevada. I mean, technically, wasn't it the mafia that built Vegas in the first place? So that actually would make a whole lot of sense if you think about it. Next up, the Slavic Glory. Thinking of Nico from GTA 4 right now. As a kid, he taught me so much about Slavic culture. The vast majority of them came during the 20th century, especially the 90s. I'm thinking of so many events that caused them to come during that specific time period. Most of them reside in Chicago or Southern California. Southern California. Extremely racist, short-tempered, doesn't like to be freaked with, has connections back to the former USSR or Yugoslavia. That is exactly what I was talking about. That is why I guess they came in the 90s. Despises America, yet uses its, well, alright. Like that he has a tracksuit on though. Funny enough, Canada also has a lot of Slavic population, especially compared to these three provinces. Geez, the Deep South has almost zero though. Yeah, again, I feel like I only meet Slavs out here in the Northeast. It's really sad how little people I run into in LA. You'd think there'd be a lot of like people worldwide. You don't really see them that much, at least compared to New York. Obviously, New York is a very, international city. So is LA, but I guess it's just way harder to run into them because we don't have like public transit. Finally, the last one, the Ulster Scot Southerner. And I have to admit, if I only got to choose one of these genre of white Americans, well, I don't even know if I can finish this statement. I don't fit any of these other categories technically. Kind of the WASP Americans, but not entirely. The stereotypical fat American, loves guns, beers, and shooting stuff. The most conservative demographic among whites, low intelligent but kind heart nonetheless. That's debatable, honestly. Well, they say the Midwest is genuinely nice people. The South will be nice to you when they're talking to you face to face. But behind closed doors, something judges them by their character. Morbidly obese, mostly uses mobility scooter. His entire family voted for Trump. Yeah, I just literally do not fit these other four categories, really. I'm not German at all. And also, I don't live in Pennsylvania or the Midwest. Like I said, I really wish they included the Nordic ancestry Americans, even though there's really not that many of them. Who else is missing from this list? It's really difficult to find French Americans, and we kind of get overshadowed by Canada when it comes to French-speaking citizens with Quebec, but there are some in Louisiana, not very many, but some. According to this, there's only about 2.2 million people that can speak French in the US currently. That's 0.4% of native speakers in the entire population. With that, I guess that covers pretty much about all. I literally have his beard though. It's interesting because I think a lot of people can also combine some of these genotypes together. I mean, like I said from the very beginning, I'm kind of a combination of these two, and then I have a friend that's literally a combination of these two. It feels like building a video game character, combining different perk points. I don't think I know very many Slavic Americans. Knowing this might save your life. Okay. Completely left out why half the South has French last names. We mentioned that. So many American whites have parents with ancestry who belong to all 6 of these ethnic groups. Yeah, we mentioned that also before. It's a lot of blending at this point. That's why they say we're the melting pot. Immigrates to America in the 1920s. Immediately takes over New York and New Jersey from the Irish. Not even gonna do this one. Among the only real Euro-American immigrant cultures left standing, single-handedly keeps New York and New Jersey half Republican. Why are they so powerful? Love the addition of the little US and Irish flag right here. It's so sad that I don't really get to run into this very often. I mean, when I'm in the East Coast, yeah. This is like a whole just type of Pokemon that I just never got to register into my Pokedex growing up, which is so depressing. I would have learned so much. They also did a fantastic job in making the entire nation love their food, although that's slowly being taken over by Mexican cuisine, so we'll see for how much longer. It's a very close race. In fact, they're neck and neck at the moment. You will never be able to wander across America on horseback. You'll never be able to afford to LARP, even recreationally. All of the planes are fenced in and private. You need a license for that. Making 100,000 today is like making 40,000 in the year 2002. They took this from you. They took even the ability to freely LARP away. Now it's all microplastics and based bean oil. It's all fenced in and owned. It's over, I guess. I can no longer just pretend like I'm in the Wild West. What's the point of the US anymore? But you know what? That certainly doesn't stop the Japanese, I will say. Every other nation on Earth, the last time China acted up. Oh, this was over like 150 years ago, but yeah, literally everyone decided that they were gonna just punish China, which, fun fact, sent them on their century of humiliation, all starting with that first Opium War. Yeah, literally everyone was just carving them up, which is basically the origin story for this very famous propaganda picture, just like a giant pizza. And yes, even the Japanese were involved. Love this comment. China was the 20th century Wild West, I'd say. When you don't have to spend anything on your military because you're thousands of kilometers from the closest combat zone, and the only country that you share a border with is your closest ally who has the most powerful military in the history of the world, and your territorial integrity is vital to their national security. Canada stays winning out here. They literally don't even have to do anything up there, huh? Just chill, have nice health care, make themselves look a lot better than us in the US. Dang, they're so lucky. We also technically share a land border with Denmark. Oh no. I will say that's probably the biggest downside to Canada. I mean, as long as it isn't the Danish from like over 1,000 years ago when they went Viking mode, I think they'll still be pretty safe. That's just a hunch though. Canada, America's hat. Meanwhile, us in the United States boasts about freedom and democracy. Meanwhile, has one more political party than North Korea. I mean, that's 100% more political parties than they have. One beats two. It's a good point. Yeah. See, that's a better way to put it. We have twice the amount of political parties as North Korea. Look at us go. We are twice as good. And it's funny because our two political parties love to talk about their differences, but of course there's no comment made about how many things they also have in common. Literally, elections in North Korea be like,
Whoa, what is happening?
It's
the Dragon Warrior! It's me!
That's literally what Kim Jong-un does every single year. Actually, how often do they do elections? I guess it doesn't matter because he wins with 110% of the vote. Elections in North Korea are held every 4 to 5 years. Keep in mind, these are parliamentary elections as well as local elections. They're not voting for Kim Jong-un. But also Venezuela be like, Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un thinks you can achieve your dreams if you believe. This is tweeted out by the official North Korea news service. I needed to hear this today. If no one got my back, at least I know Kim Jong-un got my back. That's why he is the GOAT, I guess? Me, an American visiting the UK, how much is gas? Local, petrol is 1.24 pounds sterling per liter. Alright then, keep your secrets. I didn't understand a word you just said, Magic Man. Petrol, 1.24 pounds sterling liter? My head is about to explode. Typical everyday average British morning. Wake up, Bobby knocks on door. Oi, open up you cheeky bastard and show me your sleeping license. Fumble around and finally find my license. Sorry, good sir, it's right here. God save the queen. Bobby peers in and catches a glimpse of me telly. Halt! Where's your TV license, you C-word? Draw TV license from me wallet. Bobby gives a look like the bloody queen's dodger. Oi, mate, where's your license for this license? Show him my license permit. This license permit is expired. I'm taking you in. Bobby draws his toy gun, stab him with my... Okay. Apparently they do have a lot of licenses in the British area. You need a TV license. How many licenses do you really need, though? I'm pretty sure it all stems from just the fact that they need a TV license to watch TV, but besides that, man, it can't be that much more. This Australian says, I've lived in Australia my whole life. Meanwhile, the Australia this Australian lives in, they've only been to this side and then maybe Perth, and that's about it. Oh, this part of Tasmania too. Well, that's kind of what happens when your giant continent of a nation is literally 90% desert. These are really the only habitable places you can live in, so funny meme, but it is kind of like asking Americans that have lived in America their whole life, why have you never been to New Mexico? Or even better, why have you never been to literally literally any of these states right here, in which nobody lives in. Maybe Denver. Keep in mind, most of it is just barren spider wasteland too, though. That is a factor. I probably wouldn't leave these areas too if I knew about all the giant spiders. The U.S. every year on the 11th of September. Oh, it's Mexico laughing at us. But here is now the 19th of September that a lot of Americans don't know about. Well, first of all, I don't think that Mexico is actually doing this, but September holds a lot of disastrous events that have happened in history for many nations around the world. In 1985, September 19th, there was a massive earthquake in Mexico. Literally tens of thousands were either injured or lost their life. And now the month of September is literally cursed in this nation. Since 2017, 6 earthquakes greater than 7.0 have struck the country, or all in this month alone. European Parliament required companies to make public the salary ranges of all their employees by 2026. Me and my coworker realizing that our salaries are equally low. Seems crazy, but it also seems kind of fun. Get to be with your homie like, dang, we both broke. It's all happening by 2026? This seems wild. At least you and your homie can be together though. I don't know why aliens don't make contact with us. Meanwhile, humans with literally every living organism ever encountered. I wonder why the aliens won't make contact with us. I bet it won't even take us 2 seconds before we go into this mode. I mean, that's pretty much always what happens in the movies anyways. It's kind of ingrained in us at this point. We see an invader, we oof it. Mom, can we leave the beach now? The Anglo-Saxons took out their Bluetooth speakers. Finally, we have an Anglo-Saxon version of this meme, and I'm really not sure why or how this even took place, but even I have some stuff like this in my Spotify. What happened to us? Again, don't forget to use that link in the description down below to makeshift.com to get Switzerland or the Netherlands. They're almost gone. Big thanks to the patrons. Month 1 in Drew's basement. Kansas was mentioned. I can't sleep without Drew's voice. Drew's Argentinian Grandpa. I'm back. Amateur voice. Archaeology. aPhatNarwhal. Carmel Saida. DaBeautiful-MEGAN-Underwood. InquisitorXarius. KirinoIsBestGirl. Tyrol. The Mexican KingBearHaze. Fredrik Tibblin. And ZaneyBoi.